Hidden betrayal. The day, a quiet Tuesday, unraveled my life. I discovered hidden cameras capturing my spouse's secret affair, unearthing months of deception and exposing a scandal that shattered their lover's reputation, forever changing everything. I never imagined that the quiet hum of my everyday life would soon be shattered by revelations so dark and intricate that they would leave no part of me untouched. For years, I trusted implicitly, believing that the subtle inconsistencies in our life together were nothing more than the natural ebbs and flows of a long-term relationship. My spouse, whom I had cherished and adored with every fiber of my being, had always seemed devoted, her smile a beacon of comfort and security. But as the days grew longer and the nights colder, I began to notice furtive glances and unexplained absences that gnawed at the edges of my certainty. I would catch fleeting shadows in the hallway and the whisper of hushed phone conversations that evaporated as quickly as they came. A nagging suspicion, once a small, barely noticeable itch, gradually transformed into an all-consuming fire of doubt. The first sign that something was amiss came on an ordinary Tuesday. I had returned home from work a little earlier than usual, seeking the solace of our shared sanctuary, only to find the house oddly silent. As I wandered through the rooms, a misplaced scarf here, an unfamiliar fragrance lingering on a pillow. There, all pointed to a secret life hidden behind closed doors. I dismissed the evidence at first, attributing it to a series of innocent coincidences. Yet the sense of foreboding grew until I could no longer ignore it. That night, as I lay awake listening to the irregular rhythm of my own heartbeat, I resolved to seek the truth no matter how painful it might be. Over the following weeks, I embarked on a covert investigation with a determination that surprised even me. Every moment I could spare away from my daily routine was devoted to uncovering the hidden narrative behind my spouse's behavior. I began by discreetly checking her digital devices, convinced that somewhere in the labyrinth of texts and emails lay the confirmation I desperately sought. What I found was a trail of messages that started innocently enough, only to evolve into a series of passionate, clandestine exchanges. Each message, each carefully chosen word, was a building block in the edifice of betrayal that I was assembling piece by piece. Late at night, in the privacy of my study, I pored over the evidence, my eyes growing heavy with fatigue yet sharper with every new discovery. I was not content to rely solely on written words. I knew that photographs and videos would provide indisputable proof that could silence any lingering doubt. With a trembling hand, I began to install hidden cameras in areas where my spouse spent the most time, a decision that filled me with equal parts dread and grim resolve. The first time, I reviewed the footage, my heart pounded so fiercely that I feared it might shatter my chest. There she was, laughing, embracing a stranger with a tenderness that was both familiar and alien. Every frame was a dagger that cut deeper into the fabric of my trust. I saved each image, each clip, as a sacred relic of the betrayal I had been blind to for so long. As the evidence mounted, so did the weight of my emotions. The pain of knowing that the person I had once loved had orchestrated such a deceitful charade was almost unbearable. Yet with every new file, I found a strange solace in the clarity of truth. The recordings became my constant companions, a silent jury to the extent of the treachery. I spent long nights analyzing every detail, constructing timelines, and cross-referencing moments that I had once dismissed as mere quirks. In that meticulous examination, I discovered that the deception was not a recent lapse, but a carefully constructed double life that spanned months, even years. With each revelation, my grief transformed into a cold, calculated resolve to reclaim every part of what was stolen from me. It was then that I understood the full scope of the betrayal. My spouse had not only deceived me, but had also entangled herself with someone whose presence had become a corrosive force in our shared world. This person, charming, persuasive, and outwardly respectable, had insinuated themselves into our lives with the ease of a seasoned actor playing a role they had perfected over time. I soon realized that this was not a simple case of infidelity, but a malicious collaboration that undermined every promise I believed we had made to each other. The more I uncovered, the clearer it became that both parties were complicit in a drama of lies and hidden desires that had silently unraveled the foundation of our marriage. Driven by a need for both justice and vindication, I began planning my counterattack with a precision that surprised even me. I could not allow these deceivers to continue their charade, to thrive on the ruins of trust they had so callously destroyed. I crafted an intricate scheme to expose every dark secret, every illicit rendezvous, to the unforgiving light of day. The internet, with its boundless capacity to amplify scandal and truth, became the perfect battleground. I anonymously posted the compiled footage and images on platforms where truth and drama converge, careful to ensure that the evidence was presented in a manner that left no room for misinterpretation. The response was instantaneous, a torrent of outrage, disbelief, and a hunger for retribution that spread across social networks like wildfire. The fallout was as swift as it was severe. The individual who had once been admired for their suave demeanor and affable charm found themselves ensnared in a web of public humiliation. Social media users, armed with the undeniable evidence, began to dismantle every carefully constructed facade. News outlets picked up the story, and what had started as an anonymous post evolved into a scandal that dominated conversations and headlines for days on end. Friends, colleagues, and even distant acquaintances distanced themselves, unwilling to be linked to the stain of infidelity and deceit. The once pristine reputation of the adulterous partner was now in tatters, the public eye exposing the hypocrisy and manipulation that had allowed them to infiltrate my life. Even as the digital maelstrom raged on, I was preparing for the inevitable confrontation. The night arrived unexpectedly, heavy with an air of finality. There was no dramatic showdown filled with screaming or violent outbursts, only a quiet, almost surreal exchange that felt like the culmination of a long, painful dream. I laid out the evidence before my spouse, each photograph and clip a silent indictment of the life we once thought was built on mutual respect and honesty. Their eyes, once so full of warmth, now held only a glimmer of regret and a resigned acceptance of the consequences. There were no words of apology that could mend the shattered fragments of trust, only a haunting silence that spoke volumes of the irreversible damage done. In the days that followed, as the legal and emotional fallout settled like dust in the wake of a storm, I found myself forced to navigate a landscape of both personal loss and unexpected empowerment. The public scandal had irrevocably altered the balance of power in our relationship. With the truth laid bare, I discovered that the very instruments of betrayal could be repurposed as tools for reclaiming what was rightfully mine. In the ensuing divorce proceedings, bolstered by the mountain of irrefutable evidence I had amassed, I secured not only a favorable settlement, but also full control over the shared assets and future of what we had built together. Every shred of betrayal became a stepping stone to a new beginning, a future where I was no longer defined by the pain of deception, but by the strength it took to overcome it. As I reflect on the tumultuous journey from the initial spark of suspicion to the final decisive act of reclaiming my life, I realize that the scars of betrayal are both a heavy burden and a profound teacher. I have learned that the truth, however bitter, holds an undeniable power, the power to shatter illusions, to expose hidden evils, and ultimately to pave the way for rebirth. The experience was a crucible that tested every facet of my character, forcing me to confront not only the treachery of others, but also the vulnerabilities within myself. In exposing the duplicity, I was compelled to rebuild not only my external world, but also the very core of my identity. Every new day brings with it the promise of healing and the opportunity to forge a future unburdened by the ghosts of the past. I now live with a cautious optimism, aware that the memories of betrayal may never fully fade, but resolved to ensure that they no longer dictate my path forward. The journey was long, the pain unrelenting, and the process of recovery arduous. Yet in the midst of that darkness, I discovered an inner resilience I never knew existed, a resilience born of necessity, forged in the fires of adversity, and tempered by the unwavering commitment to reclaim my destiny. The story of my spouse's infidelity, the painstaking collection of evidence, and the eventual public unmasking of a carefully concealed lie is not one of mere revenge, but of profound transformation. It is a testament to the fact that when confronted, With the harshest of truths, the human spirit has the capacity not only to endure but to rise, reborn and resolute. I now stand as a living reminder that even when betrayal strips away the layers of trust and love, the embers of truth can ignite a new flame, a flame that illuminates the path to justice, redemption, and a future that is unequivocally my own. In the end, I did not simply expose a lie, I reclaimed my life. I turned the tools of betrayal into the instruments of liberation, and with each passing moment, I continue to rebuild a world that is defined not by the actions of those who sought to deceive me, but by my own unwavering determination to live truthfully and fiercely. My journey through darkness has left me scarred yet unbroken, and as I move forward, I carry with me the lesson that truth, no matter how deeply buried, will always find a way to emerge. This is not just the story of revenge, it is the story of rebirth, of reclaiming every stolen piece of my soul and transforming it into an unyielding force for my future. I have claimed it all, my dignity, my peace, and ultimately my future, as I step boldly into a life that is unmistakably mine. Every whisper of betrayal now serves as a reminder that even in the bleakest moments, the light of truth can cut through the darkness. I no longer fear what lies ahead, for I know that the strength I have forged in adversity will guide me through any storm. The memory of that painful chapter remains etched in my heart, a testament to both the cruelty of deception and the indomitable power of resilience. I share this story not to glorify revenge, but to honor the journey from despair to liberation, a journey that has taught me that when the truth is set free, it not only destroys the falsehoods of the past, but also paves the way for a future filled with hope, clarity, and the unwavering certainty that I am the master of my own destiny. I now embrace every sunrise as a symbol of renewal, and every starry night as a promise that even the deepest wounds can eventually mend. The betrayal that once threatened to consume me has instead become the catalyst for my transformation. I stand here, scarred yet triumphant, knowing that the path I have chosen is one of unyielding honesty and profound personal strength. In reclaiming my life, I have not only unmasked the lies that sought to define me, but have also discovered the unassailable truth that within every heart lies the power to rise above even the most devastating betrayals.